Korean historical works, known as Saguk, are once again capturing public attention. From television series and films to musicals, the genre is enjoying renewed success. Today's productions span a much broader spectrum than before, ranging from traditional period pieces to works that blend fantasy with modern storytelling. For more, we're now joined by Chie Hye-won, cultural critic and professor at Kyung Hee University. Welcome back, Professor Chie.
Hello, Professor.
Hello, good afternoon.
All right, so let's talk about The King's Warden, which has been enjoying a big success at the box office with more than 4.4 million admissions so far. So this is based on historical events in Korea.
Right.
So please tell us more about it and why is it resonating so strongly with the audience right now?
That's right. The director Jang Hang-jun's new film, The King's Warden, 왕과사는남자, released on February 4th, is a historic drama and based on the true story of King Danjong, the sixth king of the Joseon dynasty, and his loyal subject, Eun-do. So the film's tragic ending is already known historically, but it illuminates the harsh power dynamics and the human bonds through the eyes of a man who watched over the King Danjong during his final days. So I was personally moved by the fact that King Danjong, actually he's a young victim of the political struggle, was able to realize his own value as a king and was also a witness to a history at the end of his life among the people in a small village, Gwangcheonggol. So I think the audiences are deeply moved by the film's new perspective on a historical tragedy. And of course, the outstanding performances of the actors, including Yoo Hae-jin, Park Ji-hoon, and Yoo Ji-tae, who played Eun-do, King Danjong, and Han Myung-hwae, they are driving the film's box office success. So as you just mentioned, the King's Warden has already surpassed the break-even point and drawing over 4.4 million audiences. So it is actually delivering a positive signal for the Korean film industry in 2026.
Right, and I was one of those of the audience who was deeply moved by the movie as well.
Yes, and one of the great appeals of the historical dramas is their meticulously researched, pardon my French, mise-en-scène, which are elaborate hanbok and costumes and makeup. Right. I hear that there was some interesting behind-the-scenes stories in regards to this. Could you tell us some?
Yeah, right. Unlike the contemporary dramas, the period drama, the historical dramas have the clear boundaries and limited ways to express characters and their emotions through their costumes or makeups. So therefore, the King's Warden tried to give the character a specific narrative through the details of costumes and makeups, such as the facial tones and wrinkle or the beard and eyebrows. So it is that they tried to portray the typical Korean father figure through Eun-do's appearance as a leader of a small village and a loyal subject of the King Danjong, who becomes more thoughtful and serious at the end. And meanwhile, the story was told by portraying, of course, King Danjong, who was in exile and weak and gaunt at first, but gradually finding vitality through the close interaction with the villagers. Additionally, the power man Han Myung-hwae, played by Yoo Ji-tae, was given a strong eyebrow and beard to give off the air of ambition, actually. So like these examples, the characters' makeup and the costumes, which combines with the historical accuracy and cinematic realism. So these are provide the greater immersion and the engagement to the audiences.
And along with that, I also hear that actor Yoo Ji-tae also gained a lot of weight for his role as well. And now let's shift away from the film now to a musical, because the popularity of historical storytelling expands into performing arts as well. So let's talk about The Man in Hanbok. It has been praised as a well-made original production. We did mention it before as well, but what really stands out in this work?
Right. We talked about these productions as well, last year So it opened in December, and the Man in Hanbok, 한복 입은 남자, produced by EMK Musical Company, won the Best Musical Award at the 10th Korean Musical Award in January. So the musical is based on a novel of the same name and effectively uses dramatic imagination to connect one of the historical mysteries, the disappearance of the genius scientist 장영실 of Joseon Dynasty, and the connected to the Leonardo da Vinci, whom he encountered in Italy. So this is fiction, but the splendid stage depicting the Joseon Dynasty and Italy is highlight of the production. And of course, the actors' excellent performances that transcend the time period captivate the audiences. Another original musical based on the historical background, 아랑, 목류도원, we also mentioned this production as well. It's set in Baekje period, and it showcases a charm of narrative based on the tale of Domi, traditional Korean music, and beautiful stage as well. So audiences who have actually exposed to the musical primarily set in the Western culture, Western background, are now catching the attention to the works that convey a sense of Korean sentiment.
Right, and many Saguk productions are blending genres, for instance, romance and fantasy incorporation. Can you maybe tell us about this trend that's happening?
Yeah, that's right. Among recent Korean dramas like Saguk, the fantasy romance genre has been more gaining popularity. So for instance, the recently airing TV drama To My Beloved Thief, 은혜하는 도정님아, is also set in Joseon Dynasty and depicts the love and social justice that unfold when a lawyer man 이열 and a commoner woman 홍은조 switch their souls. So another drama, Moon River, 이강에는 달이 흐른다, which aired last year on MBC, was also romantic fantasy historical drama about a man and a woman's soul being switched. But it had a stronger comedic elements than the To My Beloved Thief. So another romantic fantasy historic drama was last year's huge popular TVN drama, The Tyrant Chef. 복군의 셰프. This fantasy romance comedy tells the story of a modern-day French chef who travels back in time to Joseon Dynasty and becomes a chef for the tyrannic king 연산군, who possesses a perfect sense of taste, actually. So I believe that these historic drama genres, which is being created, are romantic comedy by mixing up the fantasy in this way, reflect the trend of creating content that is widely loved by younger and global audiences while incorporating Korean elements into the historic background.
Time traveling, switching souls, how much more creative can it become? But Professor Ji, do you think the formula for success in historical dramas has changed from the past?
Yeah, I think so. In the past, there were many historic dramas that they were based on a fact, but ultimately created as a fiction, but they approached the social or political issues more seriously in the works. But however, these days, there seems to be a trend of evolving into different genres while borrowing the historical backgrounds of Korea. So as a result, modern elements are naturally incorporated into Korean dramas and historic dramas, and the audiences can more easily relate it to those contemporary stuff such as character composition or speaking style and directing elements as well.
Right, right. And recently, more idol-turned actors, we're seeing a lot of those, and younger stars have been taking on roles in historical dramas. Do you think the shift in casting has influenced the image of Saguk or broadened its audience base instead?
Yeah, yes, I do. I do think that having more idol-turned actors or younger stars in historic dramas is making that genre, Saguk itself, look younger or trendier to the audiences. So these efforts can help to open the door for especially global audiences to easily access to historical dramas without understanding prior knowledge of Korean history. So these Korean historic dramas with their fantasy elements create a similar resonance as a modern dramas, but I believe by adding the unique and fresh elements of the Korean historical backgrounds, they are approaching younger and more global audiences as a new genre.
And I think a very good example of an idol turned actor is the one that we just saw in the video as well, Park Ji-hoon of The King's Warden. He did an excellent job, I have to say. And if you wouldn't know that he was actually an idol, a K-pop star, I think no one would know that he used to be like a singer because he was so excellent in his role.
He actually started his career as an actor at first, as a kid actor. Yeah.
Okay, all right. So because I was thinking of the audition show, of the K-pop audition show, and then I did see him on the dramas, on other dramas, and then this movie. Exactly, and that was one of my, that was the one which really opened my eyes to him as an actor. That's why I was thinking of that one. But last but not least, Professor Ji, historical works require careful handling of tradition and historical facts. So what kind of a balance is needed to minimize the chance of misunderstandings or distortions while maintaining creative freedom?
Right. The historical dissertation or the exaggeration in trendy historical dramas is a highly sensitive issue among the critics or the audiences. In recent years, in particular, the line between the creative freedom and historical accuracy has been blurred, sometimes leading to the social controversy, actually. So when you're recreating the real-life figure as a character in dramas, there were instances where they are excessively caricatured or belittled, and the errors in historic or cultural accuracy occurred. So furthermore, there are concerns that in some cases, fictional characters are accepted as fact, instilling a distorted historical perspective in audiences. So I think to avoid these problems, creators and producers should maintain a minimum level of the credibility based on historic record when using real-life characters as a protagonist in dramas. So, and also it is necessary to clearly inform the audiences through the subtitle or something else that the content is a fantasy or fiction. So in order to prevent a misunderstanding about the fictional setting. So I believe the key is to respect the historic facts while filling the gaps with a creative imagination.
Right. It's a very difficult issue. And when I watch movies, they do have the subtitles at the beginning of the movie saying there are some fictional elements in there. However, you don't know which parts of the movie are fictional. That is why I, for instance, do my own research after I watch the movie. But because not everyone does that, I think it is maybe more important to let the audience know which parts are actually based on the real history and which parts are fictional. Right. Very interesting topic today, Professor Ji. Looking forward to next time and have a great weekend.
Thank you, Professor.
Thank you very much.
And thank you, Walter, as always. Have a great weekend and see you next week.
See you next week.